All right, hello everybody, it's Bob Negen and welcome to another episode of Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer Podcast. I had really hoped this was going to be the shortest lived podcast in the history of podcasting, but today's news is not making it look that way. This is getting worse and there's no slowdown in sight, and those are the scientific facts. So the question isn't what is going on, the question is how do we react to it? And that's what this podcast is for. It's to help you navigate this pandemic with your business, with your life, with your store. Today we're going to talk about how to stay sane in insane times. But first, let's talk about a couple of updates. A lot of people are talking about what to do with their employees. Stores are closing down, people are laying people off. One of the things that we keep coming back to here is this idea of it's so important that you're a good human being, that we're all good human beings, that we're leaders, that we're doing what's right for the community at large and your community in your store, your employees. So there's been a lot of great information starting to happen. Susan just shared with me that our lawyer sent something really good from the Michigan Department of Labor. But if it's possible, please do everything you can to help your employees navigate, this is a crisis now. This crisis is just part of being a good leader. So be informed, be involved, do what you can for your employees. One of the things that I know, having gone through a couple of crises, nothing like this before, is that how you behave now will determine how people feel about you when this is done. This is an opportunity for you to be a good person, to be a good leader, to help your employees, to help your community. And believe me, when this is done, and this will end, you will either be positioned as a chump or you'll be positioned as a leader. And I want to encourage you to look into your heart and do the right thing and be a leader. And it's going to come back to you when this is all done. The second thing, yesterday I interviewed Rich Rose, and that interview will be up later sometime today. Our tech guy, Nate, is in the process of editing it right now. Please listen to that interview. Rich talks about strategies for both how to manage your cash in these times, which is super important. Lots of conversations about how do I pay rent? Where do I pay my vendors? How does this all work? Please listen to this. Rich is the man, I'm telling you. He has worked with several of our Platinum Mastermind group members, and he knows how to manage cash better than anybody I know. You will get amazing insights. Can you tell that I'm passionate about it? Listen to that. If you're stressed out about money, which most people are, listen to that interview. The second part of the interview is Rich shares where money is going to be available. We talk about SBA and what's happening right now with SBA loans. We talk about alternative financing. So this interview is incredibly important to you in the context of it's all about money right now. It's about cash. So Rich Rose, I would encourage you when that interview goes up on the WhizBang Retailers page, on our WhizBang training page, stop, take a deep breath, take some notes. Don't listen to it and focus. Be present. Be present to that information. And finally, our friends at Peirock. Peirock is our credit card processing partner. Dan Hausman, who is our guy. I mean, he's the WhizBang VIP connection at Peirock, emailed yesterday and said, we want to help in any way that they can. And they do have a couple of great options. They will set you up for e-commerce. They will set you up with a home terminal. So they're working to be incredibly flexible to help you do business even if you're not in the store. So if you're having problems, if you need to navigate the whole, how do I accept credit card payments while I'm not in the store. Or if you're not sure that you're being charged fairly, again, it's about cash, I would encourage you to email Peirock. It's WhizBang, W-H-I-Z, WhizBang at Peirock, and there's only one C, so Payroc.com. So it's just another resource for you. Now, what we're trying to do, Susan and all of us at the WhizBang team, is we're trying to find the best resources to help you navigate this. Okay, so those are some updates. Now let's get on to today's information. And I got to tell you, yesterday it all caught up to me. Susan and I have been deep into this for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now.
No, over a month now.
Over a month now. And when I say deep into this, Susan's brother is a scientist, and he's been calling this spot on since the beginning. As we've mentioned before, we talked about this in our Platinum Mastermind group meeting back in Los Angeles in early February?
Yeah, mid-February.
Mid-February, but all of a sudden it started to evolve. And, it's just sucked us in as a family. The boys were out in Montana, and, they came home, and, they had their own decisions to make. And, of course, we're trying to serve you in any way that we can. There's been no time off. There's been no break in our brains. And we've been taking on a lot emotionally. And I'm not, doing this to make ourselves out as heroes, because you're doing the exact same thing, right? There's just so much going on. There is no sense of equilibrium. And when you're walking around like that, if there's no balance, pretty soon you fall down. And last night I fell down. I fell down and fell into a grumpy funk. Susan took the stick back from the boys' bedroom and put it in our bathroom. And I don't know. I didn't yell at her, of course, but
Yes, you did.
I didn't. But, so it wasn't the thing. It was the accumulation of all the things, and one thing triggered it. And that's what happens when there's no equilibrium, right? We lose our ability to maintain our balance the way that we're used to. Well, I got a good night's sleep. I woke up and I was journaling this morning, and I went, what in the world was that all about? And of course I knew, and of course you knew. It's that everything is changing. And my equilibrium comes from the routines that I have created for myself. I get up in the morning, I drink a glass of water, I journal, I express my gratitude in my journal, I make my bulletproof coffee, which everybody in my family laughs about, but I love it. I meditate, I exercise. I've been exercising 3 days a week with a personal trainer and doing yoga twice a week. So, I've got a routine, the routine that keeps me safe and sane. Well, that routine has been entirely upended. And if you've got kids at home, if you're used to going to the store and hanging out with your team and doing what you do, now you've got kids at home, your equilibrium has been just, everybody's equilibrium has been just massively, totally upended. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. I just want to reflect on my reflections, so hopefully you can get some insights into what I'm thinking. What I realized is I need to create a new routine. It starts with the morning. I need to keep doing that, but I need to recommit myself to doing the things that are healthy for me. I have not been meditating. Bad call. I have not been exercising. Bad call. Last night I was so grumpy I didn't journal at night. Do you know how seldom I don't journal in the morning and night? So bad call. So I am recommitting myself to the things that keep me sane and healthy. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. I don't know what your routine should be, but ask yourself. as a family, we are committing ourselves to having a nice dinner together every night. If we don't, what will happen is the boys will go to the basement and Susan and I could go sit in front of the television, and we won't use this as an opportunity to grow as a family. Joe's learning how to play guitar. Sam's learning some new photography skills. I want to walk a lot. But here's what I want you to think about, and here's what I'm thinking about. What do you need to do to remain mentally healthy through this whole thing? You know, we talked about this in episode number 1. It's hard to believe this is only episode number 4.
I know.
We talked about this whole idea of it starts with you. Put the mask on first. You have a family to lead. You have a business to lead. There are a lot of stresses. Put the mask on first. Take care of yourself. When we talk about sanity in insane times, it starts with you. The other thing that I really want to sort of encourage you to do, and I had to, you know, when I was thinking about myself and my situation, what I realized is that I was getting into a lot of bad habits. So even this morning, while I was trying to get into a good habit, I was journaling and then I checked something online. And the minute that you check something online, you go down that hole. And for me, that hole has been social media, WhizBang retailers, don't get me wrong, love being here, love serving you, or news channels about information about the coronavirus. So I'm allowing myself to get sucked into the things that are important but shouldn't be front of mind all the time. So I'm encouraging you to compartmentalize. In fact, this is something that Rich and I talked about a lot yesterday. This idea of there's bad news and there's good news. Take all your bad news at once. So if you have to talk to vendors and if you have to talk to people about extending payments, don't do it throughout the day. Chunk it. So chunk the bad news, chunk the good news, chunk the things that are difficult, chunk the things that are going to give you peace and joy and happiness. When you're having dinner with your family, don't check your phone. You know, when it's time to 2 hours before you go to bed, get off of social media. There's always going to be news that is upsetting. This is going to happen for a while. Tucker need to go come in? So you should see a picture of our home office here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cookbooks with my computer on it, with a stand for the phone. The dog's going in and out. I love it. But that's the whole thing, right? We have to be flexible. These are new times. But this whole idea of chunking. Be present where you are, because if you don't make a point and a habit of being present in the moment, this whole situation is going to suck you in and never let you go. So that's my commitment to myself, that I'm going to work very, very hard to establish a new routine that gives me real opportunities to grow as a person, as a leader, as a father, as a friend in this situation, but that I'm not going to ignore the unpleasant stuff. I'm just going to be very judicious about how I serve it up to myself. So if you have any insights into this, please put them down. Please let us know. One of the most important things that we can all do for each other is keep supporting each other. So stay calm. Stay in gratitude. We still have so very, 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 very much. Stay in gratitude. Keep moving forward. This will end. Keep moving forward and wash your hands often. Wash your hands often. All right, everybody. We love you all, and we will see you tomorrow.